History gets treated like a solved problem. Dates, names, timelines, all filed away, all settled. Except it isn't. Sitting right alongside the science we can't explain is a shorter, stranger list. Real historical events, backed by real evidence, that professional historians and investigators still cannot fully explain. Not legends, not conspiracy theories, documented events with a piece missing. Here are 8 of them. Rapid fire. No fluff. Start with a book nobody can read. The Voynich Manuscript is a roughly 240-page handwritten book, carbon dated to the early 1400s, filled with flowing, elegant handwriting in a script that matches no known language on Earth. It's illustrated with strange plants that don't correspond to any known species, astronomical diagrams, and pages of tiny naked figures bathing in green liquid through networks of tubes. For over a century, it has been passed between collectors, universities, and eventually the world's best cryptographers, including codebreakers who cracked Nazi ciphers during World War II. Nobody has translated a single confirmed sentence. Every proposed solution, a hoax, a lost language, an elaborate cipher, eventually falls apart under scrutiny. The vellum is real. The ink is period accurate. Someone spent an enormous amount of time creating this. We just don't know what it says, who wrote it, or why. November 24th, 1971. A man calling himself Dan Cooper boards a flight from Portland to Seattle, calmly hands a flight attendant a note, and opens his briefcase to reveal what looks like a bomb. His demands are oddly specific: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. He gets all of it. He releases the passengers, keeps the crew, and orders the plane back into the air, headed for Mexico at a low altitude with the rear staircase down. Somewhere over the forests of southwest Washington, in the freezing night, in a business suit and loafers, he jumps. And he is never seen again. No body, no parachute, no confirmed remains. In 1980, a young boy finds a rotting bundle of the ransom cash on a riverbank, the only physical trace ever recovered. The FBI investigated for 45 years and officially closed the case in 2016, unsolved. It remains the only unsolved commercial airplane hijacking in American history. February 1959. 9 experienced Soviet hikers set up camp on a mountain slope in the Ural Mountains. They never wake up to strike the tent. Search teams find something disturbing weeks later. The tent has been cut open from the inside, and the hikers fled into sub-zero temperatures, some without shoes, some without coats. Their bodies are found scattered over the following months, in stages, at increasing distances from camp. Some died of hypothermia, but others show injuries that don't fit a fall or an animal attack, crushed ribs and skull fractures, consistent with, according to Soviet investigators, a force beyond human capability, with no external wounds or signs of a struggle. One woman is missing her tongue. The official 1959 investigation blamed an unknown, compelling natural force and immediately closed the case. Decades of proposed explanations, an avalanche, infrasound-induced panic, a military accident, have never fully accounted for every detail. Russia briefly reopened the investigation in 2019. It's still not considered closed. This one isn't a small mystery. It's the disappearance of an entire interconnected world. Around 1200 BCE, the Eastern Mediterranean was home to a network of sophisticated, literate trading civilizations, the Hittites, Mycenaean Greeks, and the great cities of the Levant among them. Within roughly 50 years, nearly all of them collapsed. Cities were burned and abandoned. Trade routes vanished. Rioting itself disappeared in some regions for centuries. Egyptian records blame a mysterious coalition called the Sea Peoples, but who they actually were is still debated. Other theories point to climate change, prolonged drought, earthquakes, and cascading systems collapse, where one civilization's failure took its trading partners down with it. No single cause explains the totality of it. Something ended the Bronze Age world almost everywhere, all at once, and 3,000 years later, historians still argue about what actually happened. On a small island off Nova Scotia, there's a hole in the ground that has eaten fortunes for over 200 years. In 1795, teenagers exploring Oak Island reportedly found a strange depression in the ground with a tackle block overhead, a sign, they assumed, that something had been lowered into a shaft. Digging began almost immediately, and it never really stopped. Layers of logs, mysterious inscribed stones, and what appeared to be deliberately engineered flood tunnels connected to the ocean have been found, seemingly designed to flood the pit the moment anyone dug too deep. 6 people have died searching for whatever is down there. Millions of dollars have been spent, including by a modern television series still digging as of this recording. To date, no definitive treasure has ever been confirmed. Skeptics argue the whole thing may be a natural sinkhole formation, misread by treasure hunters for 2 centuries. But nobody has definitively proven that either, and the digging continues. In 1587, roughly 115 English colonists establish a settlement on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what's now North Carolina. Their leader, John White, sails back to England for supplies, promising to return within months. War with Spain delays him. When he finally makes it back in 1590, 3 years later, the colony is gone. Not destroyed, not burned, simply empty. Houses dismantled in an orderly way, as if the colonists left on purpose and not in a hurry. The only clue is a single word carved into a post: Croatoan, the name of a nearby island and a nearby Native American tribe. No bodies, no graves, no sign of violence. White never finds them. No confirmed trace of the colonists, alive, assimilated, or dead, has ever been definitively established, despite centuries of searching, and more recently, archaeological digs and DNA studies still trying to close the case. December 1872. A ship called the Dei Gratia spots another vessel drifting strangely in the Atlantic, sails partially set, no one responding to signals. It's the Mary Celeste, and when a boarding crew climbs aboard, they find it completely deserted. The single lifeboat is missing, but everything else is untouched. The cargo is intact, personal belongings are still in the crew's quarters, and there's still food and water on board. The captain's family, who had been traveling with him, are gone too. There is no sign of struggle, fire, piracy, or storm damage severe enough to force an abandonment. The ship was fully seaworthy. Every crew member, every passenger, simply vanished from a functioning ship in the middle of the ocean. Theories range from a misjudged panic over fumes from the cargo to mutiny to waterspouts. But no wreckage, no bodies, and no confirmed account of what happened in those final hours has ever surfaced. July 2nd, 1937. Amelia Earhart, already the most famous female aviator in the world, is attempting to become the first woman to fly around the globe. She and navigator Fred Noonan take off from New Guinea, headed for a tiny speck of an island in the Pacific called Howland Island, to refuel. Radio contact grows increasingly desperate. She reports running low on fuel and being unable to locate the island, and then goes silent. Despite one of the largest and most expensive search operations in U.S. history at the time, no confirmed wreckage of her plane has ever been recovered. Theories range from a crash into open ocean, to survival as castaways on a remote island, to more elaborate claims involving capture, none definitively proven. Nearly 90 years, dozens of expeditions, and multiple sonar surveys later, the exact fate of Amelia Earhart remains one of the most searched for and least resolved mysteries in aviation history. 8 real mysteries. Not legend, not folklore, documented history with a hole in the middle of it. That's not historians failing. That's just how much of the past genuinely refuses to stay solved. If you want to know the moment any of these finally get an answer, subscribe, because when the truth comes out, this is where you'll hear it first.